Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. We're back for another video, and this is the transfer tips video for double game week 19. We're going to keep it strictly game week 19. We are going to discuss game week 18 tomorrow in the knee-jerk reaction stream. So this video is strictly game week 19. Because of the quick turnaround, we thought we'd do this video for you today because we know there's another deadline stream coming very soon. So, game week 19 is a double game week for Chelsea and Fulham. So there are two teams doubling. So we are going to talk about them and also, the players that you should be buying, selling, holding, and ignoring as well. And let's get into it, Jordan. Without any further ado, the first player, on the buy list will maybe not come as a surprise. And that is Mitrovic. Now, Mitrovic actually played today against Southampton. Fulham did win the game, but for those that did watch the game, Mitrovic did miss a penalty during the closing stages of that game. So, unfortunately, he did miss a penalty. Luckily, though, he didn't get a yellow card. So, as of now, he does have a double game week, unless, obviously, he goes ahead and gets a yellow card against Leicester, which hopefully he doesn't. But, you've got to decide, guys, whether you want to take that risk. He does have a double, but if he gets a yellow card in that Leicester fixture, as you can see, he will miss Chelsea. Essentially, he'll have a single game week. But I think he is a potential buy, a good buy for this week, just because of that double. I personally think it's worth taking that risk. I don't know what others think. His ownership is at about 26%. He has crept up after his 15 point haul the other day. His price is around 7 million, 10 goals, 2 assists. His underlying numbers are still pretty good at 0.7 expected goals per 90. He did miss a penalty, but the positive thing, he is actually on penalties, so he could get one in that game week 19 fixture against Leicester away and then Chelsea at home. Not the greatest of double game week teams to play against, but Leicester I think is still a decent fixture for Mitrovic and Fulham. They did struggle against Newcastle. They played a bit better against Liverpool. They were unlucky in that game, but yeah, I think Mitrovic is worth a punt, especially if you've got someone like Martial. I think Martial to Mitrovic could work. Even Darwin, some people have lost a bit of faith in Darwin, and maybe they'd rather have a double game week player like Mitrovic. What's your thoughts on Mitrovic, Jordan? Do you think he's a good buy for those needy of a striker? And just thoughts. Would you be bringing him in yourself or not?
First of all, I'll say he's a good buy to go for. I think he'd be more attractive if he wasn't on 4 yellow cards. I think he'd be a definite necessary option to go for, especially when he's playing one more fixture in game week 19. So it is a bit unfortunate that we have to take a bit of risk if we are to bring in Mitrovic. But yeah, he is a good buy to bring in double game week 19. It may not be the best double game week for Fulham, but Mitrovic has scored in difficult fixtures. So Chelsea at home is probably the hardest one out of the two. You can't rule out completely Mitrovic won't do anything in that game as long as he doesn't get a yellow card in the Leicester away fixture first. So yeah, he's definitely a good buy to go for if you want to take that risk of the yellow card coming in. But personally, for me, I don't think I'll bring Mitrovic in. I think I'll play it more safer and go for Andreas Pereira instead, who is also an attacking threat. But you could also opt to go for him for Fulham as well, as Mitrovic or Andreas could be possibly good picks, especially if you want to play it safe with Andreas. But Mitrovic at the same time is dangerous, as we have seen with 10 goals this season and 2 assists as well now. He's quite on good form with Fulham. So yeah, I'm definitely all for going with a Fulham asset like Mitrovic in game week, double game week 19.
Okay, let's move on now to the second player on our list as a buy. So Mitrovic is the first one. Second one is on our thumbnail for those that don't know, and that is Mason Mount, the Chelsea midfielder. Now, we've selected Mason Mount in here. This could be another Chelsea player, such as Kai Havertz, if you need a forward. But we thought we'd select Mount for the purpose of this video. I do own Mount myself, for those that watch my videos and keep up. I am an owner of Mason Mount. So, yeah, I think he's a good buy for this week. 15 appearances, only the 3 goals, 2 assists. Underlying numbers aren't the best, but Chelsea haven't been great this season. And maybe they have had a little turnaround in fortune. We will see if it's true or not. I mean, Chelsea are going to play tomorrow. So maybe we can scout the Mason Mount and Kai Havertz, see how they play tomorrow. If they look good, then maybe that will help people's decision making. So Chelsea do have a double game week in 19. They play Man City at home for the first one, and we know that isn't an easy game for Chelsea. But Everton did get a draw against Man City today. Man City's defense doesn't look as solid as it has in previous seasons. I think that's fair to say. They are conceding the odd goal in every game now. They're not keeping as many clean sheets. But if you want a doubler, and I am a sucker for a double game week player, as for those that know, and I think Mason Mount is a good pick, guys, if you want a doubler. And his ownership is still very low, 8.2%. I do think that will creep up closer to the deadline. 7.6 million, so he's a bit pricey. Maybe if you've got another midfielder around that price range, you could downgrade or upgrade. If you have the budget, I think he's one to definitely look for, and potentially, dare I say, a captain pick for Game Week 19. He's got the captain's armband on him in my team, but nothing's confirmed yet. I don't know if I'll actually go captain Mount, but he's there to bring in. I think he's still a good pick. That Fulham away fixture, all he needs is an assist or a goal in that game, and anything on Man City is a bonus. So I think he's worth the risk. Same with Havertz. I think Havertz is a good buy for those that maybe have Martial or even Darwin Núñez. Could be tempted to move to Chelsea assets. And I think we'll see how they play tomorrow, Chelsea. See how Mount looks. See how Havertz looks. Even Sterling. I haven't mentioned Sterling, but all these Chelsea players I think are when there's a double game week, you want to take advantage. And I think we've got to see how they do tomorrow as well. But what's your thoughts, Jordan? I know you wasn't the biggest fan on Mount, but he did score last game week.
Yeah, he actually did get a 10-pointer, so I kind of eat my words with that because I did say Mount. Didn't really see much coming from Mount in that game, but nonetheless, he does have a double game week in 19, which is very well. There's not many that have a double game week. Only Fulham, the optimal picks for 19. So it is worth going for a Chelsea asset like Mason Mount, I'd say, as one of the ones that you would probably see the points coming from in those 2 fixtures. It will be interesting to see with the Man City at home one what Chelsea can do, especially without Reece James now. It's also another intriguing thing what Chelsea, how they sort of how that affects them as well without Reece James in the team, because we did see this before where when Reece James was absent, we sort of saw a slide in form for Chelsea. And even though it's just one player affecting the team, it can make a massive impact on the overall emotions on players. But with Mason Mount, I mean, he has 3 goals this season, not a particularly amazing record so far in the season. I'm sure he can equalise on that, and as well as his assists as well, with only 2 this season, much lower than last season. But he has the time and a double game week in 19 to obviously make that more of an attractive number and potentially a buy for many, as he does play obviously one more fixture than a single game week player would. So I could see why he would be a favourable choice to go for, especially from his 10-pointer. Last game week, he would be a popular transfer in. He's still a differential at the moment, 8.2%, but that's set to rise, come closer to the double game week. And the price is not too bad for Mount, 7.6. He started off 8 million, so he's cheap to bring in at the moment, which is good, affordable, if people can't stretch around that margin. So yeah, it's all good for Mason Mount. Hopefully he can do well in that double game week. I probably won't go for Mason Mount, as a lot of people know why. My reasons for Chelsea has never been much luck bringing them in, such as Mason Mount.
Fair enough. Let's move on now to some players that we think we should potentially be looking to sell. So those are the buys out the way. The first player on the sell list, and that is Ivan Toney. Now, we know Ivan Toney is injured. He got stretchered off in the last game. In the last game yesterday, he got stretchered off, and he looked quite bad. He looked quite serious. So it's unlikely he's going to be fit for that Liverpool game. And if he was actually fit for that Liverpool game, he probably would have been a hold. because Liverpool's defense doesn't look great, and I can see Ivan Toney, potentially giving Liverpool defense all sorts of nightmares. But he's not going to play. It looks like after the unfortunate injury, and he had to be stretchered off. So he's an easy sell for us. If he's injured, I think you got to sell him. 16 appearances, 12 goals. He had a brilliant season so far. So unlucky for Brentford, and I think it's a big loss if he's out anything serious. So hopefully he can come back from injury very soon, and he's got nice game week 20, 21, 22. But I don't know how serious the injury is. But for now, he's a sell just because of the injury. I'm going to swiftly move on to the second player on our list as a sell, and that is Tony Martial. Now, well, the reason why Tony Martial's on this list, now you could actually keep him because he plays Bournemouth at home in game week 19, and on paper, that is a very, very good fixture for him. So you can easily see him scoring in that game, but we did Mitrovic as a buy. So a lot of people have Darwin and Martial. If you was to get in a Mitrovic, you'd probably have to sacrifice Martial. So that's the logic when we've put Martial as a sell. I would be tempted to do Martial out and Mitrovic in. If you have those two players, I'd be tempted to do that move. So that's why Martial has been listed as a sell player. I think Mitrovic with the double game week is, for me, just a slightly bit more attractive. His ownership has come down slightly. Martial's, he's been sold by a few managers. His price is still pretty cheap, 6.7 million. As I say, he's got a good fixture, but I think I'd prefer Mitrovic over Martial for the double. And Martial, I don't know if those that watched today, I don't think he was that great today against who did they play? I just lost my train of thought. Who did they play today, man? Wolves, sorry. Yeah, I don't think he was that great. But I think it depends. You could easily keep him, but I'd be tempted to switch him to Mitrovic. What's your thoughts, Jordan, on his performance? If you watched, and would you swap him for Mitrovic?
It's potentially a good swap to bring in a double game week player, even though Martial has Bournemouth at home. We did expect him to do quite well against Wolves, but wasn't really to be. So there is that sort of idea where you could take out, let's say, sell Martial and bring in like a Mitrovic, for example, for the double game week in 19, just the extra fixture, and potentially maybe Mitro outscores Martial, even though Man United have Bournemouth at home, which is a good fixture. Mitro still plays too, so you can possibly go with that extra fixture for Mitrovic and just hope that he can outscore Martial. But yeah, as we've mentioned, in terms of the forward line, a lot of people have Haaland, obviously, and probably Darwin or Harry Kane and whatnot. So you might not want to swap those players, and potentially you might want to swap Martial, who is only a temporary pick, just because of Man United's fixtures do swing, like especially in game week 20 and 21, where they have Man City and then Arsenal. Two teams you don't really want to keep Martial in your team for. So yeah, you do have to start thinking about it now, selling Martial if you don't feel like he's gonna get much returns from that Bournemouth at home game. And if you see Mitrovic getting more from that game, then obviously selling Martial would be the right choice to go for.
Yep, I agree. Moving on to some players that we think you should hold on to. Now, these are players that have been transferred out by managers, and we think you could probably hold on for a bit longer. And I think we did this one last week, and we're doing it again. That is Darwin Núñez as a hold. May be controversial because I understand a lot of managers I've seen on Twitter, a lot of managers complaining about Darwin, and I think a lot of people have had enough of Darwin and are willing to just sell him now after him not scoring again against Leicester last night. But I'm here to tell you guys why you should hold on to Núñez, even though I don't own him. But he's got 12 appearances, 3 off the bench, 5 goals, 3 assists. And every time Núñez plays, he causes chaos. And again, yesterday, he was involved in that goal for the comical own goal by Wout Faes. For those that didn't watch, Núñez chips the goalie, hits the post, and then Faes just decides to volley into his net. But I'm going to give you guys your thoughts on what you think, Jordan. What's your thoughts on Núñez anyway? I'm going to quickly grab my charger. So give me 2 seconds.
Okay. Well, with Nunes, I know he's been frustrating. I mean, he luckily got the assist from Fize's uh, funny mistake, but yeah, he did get a return in the game week 18. So you can't completely rule out Nunes for just because he's not been clinical. I mean, he's missed a lot of chances. I won't say that he hasn't had the chances to score and whatnot, but I think we still have to hold on to the faith with Nunes because he is getting all these chances. I think we start to lose the faith when obviously those chances start to disappear and we see it coming from someone else. But for the time being, I think holding Nunes is probably the best thing you could probably do because sooner or later he is bound to score. I mean, it's only a matter of time. I know we've said this 2 game weeks in a row, but he did get that assist luckily from Fize's mistake. So it is coming. It's getting there. It's just
Yeah,
Nunes just got to finish that final product and get that goal. But yeah, I think he's definitely a hold. I'm a Nunes owner myself, and I think I'll hold on to him for at least one more week and see what he can do against Brentford away, especially without maybe possibly not Tony not being in that game may be a benefit for Liverpool, even though they haven't been the greatest this season. But they are scoring goals still, and Nunes can also be a part of that, as well as
yeah,
other Liverpool assets.
yeah. Obviously, missed a bit of what you said on Nunes, but I think I'd be keeping him just because of that Brentford, Brighton. There's still decent fixtures, and yeah, as I said, his XG numbers, he's still getting a lot of chances. I think one day, whenever that is, he will just explode and he will score a brace from a couple of chances. So I would keep the faith, but I understand if managers do want to switch him out to someone else, Mitrovic or whoever really. But we're saying hold. So that's our opinion on it. Let's move on to the second player on the list as a hold as well, and that is KDB. So KDB is an interesting one. 16 appearances, 3 goals, 9 assists. So he's having a really good season as well. Um, his underlying numbers are as well pretty good. His expected assists per 90 and 0.49. So, and his expected goals as well 0.21, which isn't too bad for a midfielder. He does have Chelsea in game week 19. I can see why people would be looking to sell him. He is quite expensive at 12.5 million. His ownership is dropping. A lot of managers have, lost faith in KDB after 2 blanks, I believe, in a row. Obviously, Salah blanked as well in this current game week, but last game week Salah scored. We thought KDB is going to get his return this week. It didn't happen against Everton. But I say, guys, you still keep the faith because of double game week 20. Now, in double game week 20, KDB has a double game week, and it's Man United and Tottenham. And I know Man United, and looking a bit better now, and it's 2 teams in the top 6. So arguably the fixtures aren't great, but for me, Man City, I don't look at fixtures too much for Man City because I still feel like they can beat most teams and have a good performance against most teams. So I am taking that into consideration. That double game week, I'd be tempted to hold him and play him for that double. If you went KDB over Salah in the first place, which there was that debate, KDB or Salah. The people that went Salah, fair enough, they chose Salah. But one of the reasons why people went KDB over Salah, in my opinion, is because of double game week 20. And they were looking at that fixture, KDB with the double, the way Man City are playing. I know they weren't great today, but they were good today, but they missed the chances. So I would actually be advising people hold on to KDB just so they can play that Chelsea, Man United, and then Tottenham in that double, and then Wolves after that. If KDB doesn't do anything after 21, maybe you could maybe look to get rid of him and switch it to Salah, for example. But Salah did blank as well last night, so I'd keep the faith, guys, if you are a KDB owner, just because of the double. If he didn't have that double, I'd be tempted to sell as well. So yeah, for me, he's a hold. What's your opinion anyway on it, Jordan?
Yeah, with KDB, it must be frustrating for owners that have him, just because of the 2 blanks as well. As he's been so close to getting a return, it hasn't come. For the fixtures, though, I mean, Man City have 7 in the next upcoming 5, so they have 2 double game weeks on the way. And with KDB, I mean, sooner or later, you do expect a return from him. I mean, he's had 9 assists this season, which is probably the most from any player in the season that has got assist wise. And he's got 3 goals behind him as well, which is pretty good. And I still feel like it's the same for Nunes, for example. It's just you got to keep the faith in KDB because he has a lot of money. And if you brought him in, you pretty much have to stick with it, I think, for at least till the double game week, see how that goes. And then obviously they got Wolves at home in 21, which should be a particularly good game for KDB. We did say that about Everton, but that sort of went sideways. But I think you still have to hold on to KDB, see how Man City cope in the next 4 fixtures, and possibly see after Wolves game what you do with KDB. If he has picked up form, then obviously you keep him. But if he's still the same as he is now, then yeah, potentially you could get rid of him. But I feel like there is still much more to bring from KDB. Even though he's expensive, I understand why people would take him out because he has taken up a lot of budget at 12.5 million. He isn't the cheapest midfield option, whereas other midfielders are scoring cheaper than his price, which is understandable as the ownership does show that now dropping below 38%. So I do understand the frustrations, but I feel like with players when they blank, these top class ones, you still got to keep hold of them just for a little bit longer, see how they do for the long term run, and hopefully KDB can get back on the scoring and assistant road.
Yeah, I agree. If he didn't have that double, I'd probably look to take him out. But double game week, you'd want a City player, and City now have to start winning games now. They can't afford to slip up anymore. Obviously, Arsenal going 7 points clear, so there's no time for him to be rested. Really, KDB along this period, he needs to play every game pretty much because City are now chasing, and I think KDB will he should step up to the challenge of that. So yeah, I'd be holding him. Let's move on to some players now that we think you should be ignoring. Now, these are players that maybe managers are looking to bring in, maybe after they're playing quite well recently. And yeah, these are players that we'd ignore. And yeah, probably wait on these guys. So the first one is Ream of Fulham. Now, maybe you're wondering why he's on the list, but he did actually get a 14-point haul, I believe, or 13 or 14-point haul in game week 18. He's been transferred in by quite a few managers. I'm not going to go into this too much, but he's 4.5 million. He's a cheap defender. We'd ignore him. I know he's got a double coming up in game week 19, but he's not going to score every week, guys. So it's one of those where people see he's got a lovely, double-digit return. He's cheap, got a double game week coming up, but I'd be surprised if he scores again. As you can see, his numbers, obviously he's a defender, so he's not going to get many chances, and I wouldn't expect him to carry on doing that sort of form into that double, and then even after that, with the fixtures turn again. So I wouldn't be wasting my transfers on a bringing in a Fulham defender, and I don't think you guys should either. So managers that are bringing in, maybe we'll see, but I think he's an easy ignore. He's not going to score double-digit returns every week, so yeah, he's on there for now. Finally, the last player that is a sell for potentially heading into game week 19, and that is Saliba. Now, the reason why I've put Saliba on this list is because, he's 16 appearances so far, 2 goals, 1 assist. Now, his ownership is very high at 35%, so he seems to be owned by a lot of managers. But the reason why is because of the yellow card situation. He is on 4 yellows, so 1 more, he will be suspended for 1 game. So do bear that in mind, guys. Saliba is going on the yellow card tightrope, I should say. And also, do you really be wanting to waste an Arsenal slot on bringing Saliba in? I personally wouldn't. I think Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, even Gabriel are players that I'd go for ahead of Saliba. I think there's more better Arsenal players with FPL potential in terms of scoring points because I just think there's other Arsenal players that I want in my team, as I mentioned, the attacking players. And if I was going to go for an Arsenal defender, it will probably be someone like Gabriel, just because the stats show that Gabriel is more likely to score a goal from a corner or a set piece due to his underlying XG data. So if you're looking for an Arsenal centre back, I think Gabriel is the one to choose. And as well, Saliba has that yellow card, and he's been bought in by a few managers. I don't quite get why. So I've put him on the ignore list because of that reason. So yeah, any thoughts on Arsenal slots? Would you want to waste it on maybe Saliba or go with a more exciting pick like double attack? Odegaard's looking good as well.
Yeah, I kind of wish we could have more than three players from a club, because obviously I would pick about four uh, players from Arsenal that are attacking. And with Saliba, I'm not really a big fan. I know he's quite owned a lot, which is quite a surprise. It feels like Saliba's always on ignore for most of our
Yeah.
most of our transfer tips. But there is good reason for that. It's because with Arsenal's attack this season has been absolutely relentless. It has destroyed teams in defence, absolutely rang rings around them. And we've seen this from all different qualities of players. And Arsenal being the youngest squad in the Premier League as well is quite impressive watching
Mm,
them. With Saliba, you don't really see that attacking threat, whereas you do see it more from, let's say, Zinchenko, if you are to go for a defender, or Ben White, or Gabriel, someone of that caliber. I don't think Saliba is quite fits into that, like
mm,
that attacking role for Arsenal. I mean, he has got 2 goals and 1 assist this season, so he doesn't like. It's not like he doesn't score.
yeah.
He does get these chances when it does come to him, but I feel like there's more upside going for an attacking player like Martinelli, Odegaard, Saka, even Nketiah, now that
Yep.
Jesus is not in the squad at the moment. So there's more upside, I think, to bringing in more of an attacking player for Arsenal rather than a defender, where you can only rely on a clean sheet really from Saliba, not really an attacking return either. So
Mhm.
I think there's more points value if you go for an attacking Arsenal player rather than a defender like Saliba.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I just want to quickly add, guys, if you are still in the stream, if you are enjoying the content, please don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. We are very close to 700 subscribers, so that is the next target. So like the stream if you've enjoyed it, and also hit that subscribe button. We're gonna get through some questions, and then we're gonna wrap the show up, and then yeah. So let's get through some questions that I've missed. Uh, Krogsberg, totally agree with you guys to buy players. Yeah. I mean, with Mount Mitrovic, I think both good buys. Let us know. Yeah, you have let us know. I think he's bought in Mitrovic. Animation says Mount in for this week. Is it worth to bring him and Greenwood in for Martial and Andreas? If it means I'm going to captain Mount, yes, I think so. Because if you're going to captain Mount, I think it's worth it. But not, I mean, for a hit, maybe not. I don't know if I'd do it for a hit. But if he's got 2 free transfers, I'd be doing it probably.
I mean, I wouldn't want to take out Andreas. He has a double game
Yeah,
week.
that's
So
the other.
yeah, I'd rather keep Andreas in, but bring in obviously Mount and somehow obviously do the Greenwood to Martial move. I like that, but keep Andreas because he is
Mhm.
very dangerous in that Fulham team and potentially could get something out of those 2 fixtures that Fulham do have. So I'd probably prefer to keep Andreas and bring them out. And if you wish, go captain Mount.
Krogsberg, thoughts on any safe City defenders to start? I mean, I wouldn't be going to City defenders if I'm honest. The way it's going right now, City don't keep any clean sheets. And even in the upside of attacking, Cancelo's benched again today. So we will talk about City in more depth. I think in tomorrow's stream we have another knee-jerk live reaction stream where we're going to go into each team and talk about what our thoughts are. But at the moment, it doesn't look like anyone's really. I don't really fancy any of the City defenders if I'm honest. KDB is a discussion. I believe Haaland is enough to cover City attack. Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough. I think that's fair to say. You don't really need
absolutely.
KDB.
Mm, that's pretty much all you need, really. I mean, as long as you captain Haaland every week for Man City, you're good.
Look at our sell Salah and another midfielder for KDB and Gakpo maybe. We'll have to see how Gakpo fits into this Liverpool team. I don't know if Gakpo will put up the same numbers as a Salah or a Nunes. We'll have to see the way Gakpo is expected to play on the left side. He won't be playing in the next game, I don't believe, against Brentford. Klopp has said it's unlikely, and he's probably going to make his debut in the FA Cup game against Wolves. So I think game week 2021 is when we'll see Gakpo. I think we'll have to wait and see with Gakpo how he plays. If he looks like a good threat, if he looks like he's getting chances, then maybe Nunes out, Gakpo in could work. I don't know. And double Liverpool attack right now, I'm not sure if I'm honest. Liverpool don't look, they're very inconsistent still, I believe. And maybe you could go without Salah, but I'd prefer Salah right now just because he's on penalties as well. And if Liverpool get a penalty, then Salah obviously is going to step up for it. What to do with Cancelo? Is it worth switching his money into Edison, or is there a defender from City that is nailed? If you want a nailed City defender, just looking at the team, I mean, there's Laporte. You could go for Laporte. I think he played today, didn't he? So I'm looking at the lineups. Sorry, Laporte didn't play today. I meant Ake. Nathan Ake. But I don't know. I wouldn't be going there personally. I'm not a fan of City's. Yeah, what would you say? Because obviously they had a Rico Lewis playing, the youngster at right back. They had John Stones and Akanji, who seem like they're getting a lot of minutes now. Obviously, Ruben Diaz is injured. Nathan Ake is playing left back. So, are you keen on the City defense? Would you be bringing one in for Cancelo, or would you just keep Cancelo now and just hope he starts? Which I don't know if this is like a one off or two off. 2 games in a row. Is Cancelo now fully benched?
Well, this is partly the reason why before we resumed for FPL, why I had him on the bench for Cancelo, because I did have a slight suspicion he wasn't going to start, but I kind of didn't think he wouldn't start 2 games in a row now. Just a surprise. I don't think it is worth bringing Man City defenders, if I'm honest. That's partly why I went with Edison in the first place, because he, out of all players, I think he's the most nailed to play, obviously, as the goalkeeper, unless something happens to him. So maybe it is a good idea to switch money for now and put it in Edison and then look somewhere else for defenders, not Man City ones, because even with Man City defenders, even if they are nailed, Man City aren't keeping any clean sheets at all. They're conceding goals still. So there's not really any upside at the moment to bring in a Man City defender unless we see a difference in their form, because they are still conceding to teams like Everton where they should be keeping a clean sheet against them.
Yeah, FPL bench warmers as well with the chat. Hi, chaps. Do you think a -4 for Cancelo to a Chelsea defender is worth it? There's a lot of Cancelo chat. Miles MCF also says Cancelo to Cucurella, Martial to Darwin with a -4. What do you think? We're going to speak about this one first. Would you take a -4 to take Cancelo out to a Chelsea defender? Like a Cucurella, for example. Would Chelsea have a double?
No.
I mean, they've got Chelsea next, Man City. Do I see a clean sheet in that one? I mean, I'll be very, very surprised if Cancelo. I know I've said that 2 weeks in a row now. If Cancelo doesn't start against Chelsea in Gameweek 19, then that means there's something wrong with Cancelo and Pep. It's a massive game, obviously a top 6 team. If Cancelo doesn't start, I'm going to assume that he's been dropped, for the foreseeable, and he was now firmly second choice or third choice if he misses that Chelsea game. I actually don't know what to do with Cancelo at this moment in time, because with Chelsea, Rico Lewis, the young player who's been playing well, does Pep keep the faith with Rico Lewis, or does he put in Cancelo, the experienced player, again? I think it will be telling. If Cancelo starts that game, then we can assume he was just resting him, because if you look at Man City's fixtures, they have a lot of games coming up, and these are big games. Chelsea, then a double with Man United and Tottenham, which ain't going to be easy. Wolves, and then Tottenham again, and then another double. I know, there is a week break as well between that, but either way, Man City can't afford to drop any more points in this title race. So if Cancelo doesn't start against Chelsea, then for me is a massive worry, and I'd probably get rid of him. But I'm hoping that because it's a tough fixture, Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, Cancelo should play in that one, just because of he is the main man usually at City. I know he hasn't seemed like it, but that's what I'm clinging on to. Do you think Cancelo's been replaced now completely as a sub, or do you think he'll win his place back and it was just rotation or something like that?
I don't think he's been completely replaced. I mean, I'd be very surprised if he has, because he has been a brick wall for Man City in the past, getting many attack returns as well at the same time. So it would be really weird if he is to be a second option, especially for Man City. They're not keeping many clean sheets without him as well, Cancelo. So he kind of is a massive miss in the starting 11. Quite surprised that he'd rather play youngsters over him, either over experience as well. Maybe they're giving them a chance to get on the field and get their legs warmed up in terms of in case Cancelo isn't able to play. But I do expect him to come back. I just don't know when it will be for Pep to decide whether he wants to start in the 11 or not. But I wouldn't take a -4 for Cancelo personally. I think for me, I would probably hold on to him and just have a bench option ready there. Like today, when he didn't come on, I have a bench option ready to come on for him. So I'll probably just hold on to him, even though it's not probably the best thing to do. But there ain't many defender options really you can really go for at the moment. It's very lacking replacements.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't do it for a hit. Also, Miles says Cancelo to Cucurella. I think that's a good move. Martial to Darwin for a -4. I wouldn't do it. I don't think. I'd probably just keep Martial, who's got Bournemouth. Darwin's got Brentford, so similar fixtures. Well, you could argue Martial's got the easier fixture, and I wouldn't take a -4 for Darwin personally. I don't think it's worth it. If it was a free transfer, maybe, but not a -4. What's your thoughts, Jordan?
Yeah, again, not especially for a defender. I wouldn't be taking a -4 to bring in another one, especially Cucurella and Chelsea as well. I'm not a massive fan of Chelsea in their defence, even though they kept a clean sheet. With Reece James now absent in that team, I'm just not quite sure what Cucurella can do in that position, as he's not a Reece James. And also with the miss of Reece James, I don't know how that affects the defence of Chelsea, especially in the fixture they have against Man City in game week 19 as part of the double game week. I don't see a clean sheet in that game at all. I'd be very surprised. But I understand why you might want to switch to Cancelo to Cucurella, as there isn't really many other options to replace Cancelo with. But I wouldn't personally do it for a -4.
Fair enough. And Animations says, great insight, lads. Great show as always. Plus, with the City double in 20, I may hold. Thank you for your kind words and Animations. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, guys, please drop a like on the stream. And also, if you haven't, as always, subscribe to the channel if you're new. And also share the video if you can as well. Share it on your socials or whatever you use. Let people know about us. We're trying to grow the channel. So like and subscribe. It helps us massively. And yeah, we're going to wrap the stream up here. We are back tomorrow again on around 1 p.m. So 1 p.m. we're back for our team selection video. So 1 p.m. tomorrow UK time, game week 19, double game week 19 team selection video. So do tune in for that. We're going to talk about transfers and our captain picks. Should be a good one. I have 2 free transfers, so I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So you'll see on the stream tomorrow. And then we're back again, I think around 7 p.m. UK time for a knee-jerk live reaction to review game week 18 and how we've done. It's been such a quick turnaround. You know, we've not had time to really plan these streams. So tomorrow we are back with a double stream, 1 p.m. team selection, and then again at 7 p.m. for the knee-jerk reaction to talk about how our game week 18 went, our ranks, our scores, all that stuff. So yeah, do tune in, double stream tomorrow. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out, and also like the stream. Thank you, Nanjay. Appreciate it. And thank you, FPL Benchwarmers as well. Thank you for joining. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, before we do wrap it up?
Yeah, just thank you everyone for the comments and watching the stream over. Hopefully, Happy New Year to everyone, obviously, because it is New Year's Eve today. So hope you have a great time, whatever you're doing, whatever your plans are. We say goodbye to 22 and we welcome 2023. So yeah, this will be our last stream in 2022. So hopefully you all have a fantastic time, which is left of it.
Yep. Happy New Year, guys, and see you tomorrow for that double stream. Take care and see you soon. Peace.